Anger boiling over in the streets of Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories. For the past several weeks, tensions and violence between Israelis and Palestinians have taken such a serious turn that many here wonder where it will all end. It's not just about statistics. In total, more than 100 people have been killed and thousands have been wounded, the overwhelming majority Palestinians. The question many are asking now is whether there's any room left for the two communities to peacefully negotiate their differences. Today on Talk to Al Jazeera, we meet members on both sides of the conflict, an Israeli settler, Palestinian demonstrators, and then we take you to a place that we found, where Palestinians and Israelis work together, side by side, as colleagues and friends. The fundamental argument, of course, is about land. On the West Bank, illegal settlements have expanded under the current government. In this one, called Bet El, we meet Ben-Artzi, a leading figure in the settler movement. He has a very clear opinion about the current conflict and also strong views about Israel's prime minister, which is interesting given that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is also his brother-in-law. What are your thoughts on this current tense situation that we've been seeing?
This conflict eventually will be decided, I don't know when, but one side will prevail, one side will overcome. But until that day, that time, we shall have that conflict ongoing from time to time, a little bit stronger, sometimes a little bit weaker. But this is an ongoing conflict in the last 100 years.
So you don't ever foresee a political settlement, a diplomatic settlement between these two people who want to live on this land?
No, absolutely. I don't believe that a political solution is possible, mainly because as far as I understand Islam, as far as I understand the Palestinian movement, the existence of a sovereign Jewish state, even smaller, even just in the area of Tel Aviv, is something that is unacceptable on a religious basis, Islamic basis, national basis. So I don't believe that it's really a matter of compromise and after that some kind of division and partition and compromise, peace will come. Just the opposite. The more, as we've seen, the more concessions Israel has done in the last 20 or 30 years, Oslo Accords, the withdrawal from Gaza, the more concessions Israel made, the stronger became the Palestinian resistance and war.
So for you, this will always be a violent conflict. For you, we will, until that scenario that you've presented bears fruit, we will always see people dying because of this conflict.
As a religious person, I am prepared to live in the state of Israel, in the land of Israel, in a state of war until God will fulfill his promise to make Islam and Christianity understand and accept the sovereignty of the Jewish people in Israel.
The thing is, Israel does exist, and Israel has internationally recognized borders. But what Israel doesn't recognize is those borders that the Palestinians not only want for themselves, but is recognized by the world. Why is that not enough for Israel, or indeed someone like you?
This is the heartland of the Jewish people. The Jewish people comes back to its biblical land. It's written in the Bible. It's written in the Quran that the Jewish people came to this land. Where did Jews live? They lived on these mountains. Jerusalem, Hebron, Bet El. They did not live in Tel Aviv. To my friends in Tel Aviv, I always tell them, Tel Aviv was never a Jewish place. It was not a holy place. It was not a Jewish place. In the area of the seashore of Tel Aviv, usually lived Philistines, Canaanites, Greeks, Romans, all kinds of other people, not Jews. So both from a religious, historical, and also legal point of view, I regard the settlements here legal, legitimate, and also important from a strategic point of view. I don't see any problem in this.
Although, as we mentioned, his sister Sarah is married to Benjamin Netanyahu, Ben-Artzi is still critical of the prime minister, which becomes evident when our conversation turns to his argument that most of the West Bank belongs to the Jewish people.
Obviously, the international community disagrees with you. They view settlements like this, like the one that you've lived in for over 30 years, as illegal under international law. It also...
You know why?
But let me finish my question. Also, what you're saying, which is Israel will be from the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan River, also contradicts what the Israeli government says, which is they believe in a two-state solution.
Unfortunately, the Israeli government, including my brother-in-law, Benjamin Netanyahu, they unfortunately, I'm sad to say that, agreed to the two-state solution. And here I must say that I have read very carefully. I have also taken part with my brother-in-law in writing his book, and in his famous book, A Place Among the Nations. He writes very clearly against the establishment of a Palestinian state. What I feel is that he made a maneuver, some kind of tactics. I will say that I agree, but I will act against it. I don't think it's a good move, although it's regarded sophisticated. But I have said, I've told him several times, you have to be sincere. And I believe and I know that in his heart and in his mind, he's against the Palestinian state.
So really what you're saying is that your brother-in-law, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is essentially lying to the world when he says he believes in a two states, that he doesn't believe in two states at all, and certainly doesn't believe in an independent Palestinian state.
I think that what he is trying to do is to say, I agree, but to set conditions that he believes will be absolutely unacceptable to the Palestinian side. And as a result, I will be good. The international community will say, oh, he's supporting peace because he's in favor of a Palestinian state. But in fact, it won't happen because he sets so many conditions that it makes it impossible, practically speaking. So it's not really lying. He's saying, I'm in favor. For example, I'm in favor of flying in the air, but on condition that you give me a plane. You're not going to give me a plane, and so I won't fly in the air. Something like this. But my dispute with him is that I think that it makes bad public relations. It's a bad propaganda. It's a bad. You have to be sincere and authentic, and you can say clearly what you really believe, that the Palestinian state is not justified on historical base, religious, national, and also strategic and economic, whatever. Say what you wrote in your book, and I do believe that he still believes in what he wrote in his book. It's so convincing.
How much more death, how much more fighting do you think needs to happen before we can see any kind of solution whatsoever? Or is it just going to be what you've said already, which is until one side gives up, this will not end?
You know who will decide how many people will have to die? God in heaven.
As determined as the settlers are to maintain their position, just as determined are the young Palestinians we see in the streets demonstrating almost every day. We meet up with two of them who covered their faces to protect their identity.
Why do you come here and protest every day?
عشان القدس واحنا بنحررها وغيرنا ما حدش راح يحررها. القدس راحت بالدم وراح ترجع بالدم. لو ايش ما طلعوا معانا، لو ايش ما سووا ما حد راح يحررها غيرنا.
The demonstrators are not only young men, many young women are also involved as well.
احنا بنيجي لهون على اساس انه نساعد الشباب، بنلم حجار، بنوزع عليهم مي.
طلع عليه هون، طلع عليه.
بنوزع عليهم مي بحيث انه نفرجي المحتل انه مش بس الشباب بيقدروا يعملوا، انه البنات برضه بيقدروا يعملوا، انه احنا شعب واحد.
You're obviously a young student. You go to school, you go to classes, and yet here we are seeing you at a protests that often turn violent.
المدرسة في الجامعة كبيرة أو صغيرة ما بتفرق عنا. احنا عم نفرجي المحتل انه احنا صغار او كبار كلنا واقفين بايد واحدة.
Back. Back, guys. This way. This way. This way. Away. There. Let's go back. Back. All of us.
Okay, come.
All of us.
Come. It's okay. We're just a bit of
Keep
tear
rolling.
gas. We'll be
Keep it
fine.
close up. On here.
Okay, if you could just. It's okay. Are you okay? Are you all right? We've just been tear gassed. Obviously, it's not a very pleasant feeling, but the protesters are still out there. They're still there confronting the Israeli soldiers. Not a huge crowd of them, not a huge crowd of protesters. But it really just gives you a sense of the situation on the ground here. These protests continue. These young people continue to keep going back, continue to confront Israeli soldiers to show that they won't give up, that they'll continue to keep fighting.
What we see now is not surprising to me. It was something expected, actually.
Hala Marshoud is a Palestinian who has grown up in Israel under the auspices of the Oslo Agreement that Israeli and Palestinian leaders signed in 1993, which was supposed to lead to a Palestinian state. Some people have described the young people involved in this violence as the children of Oslo. What does that mean to you, the children of Oslo? Does it mean anything to you?
I think that those children who came against Oslo, they are the children who are proving that Oslo did not come to bring peace, did not come to do, I don't know, whatever they claimed it was going to do, peace. No, I think they came as a reaction to Oslo, which they see as also a product of occupation, and they see that it's product of this system, and it's a continuation to oppression, Oslo. So I think those children, those youth, are a reaction to Oslo as well, and against Oslo as well.
You have the Israeli government saying the reason we've seen the violence on the streets is because of what they call incitement, whether it's through social media, through Palestinian media, or through comments made by various Palestinian leaders.
It's not incitement, and it's not what a few Palestinian leaders say. It's a natural response. Occupation is a violent act in itself. So any kinds of violence that we see is a product of that, of occupation, of colonialism. So one should look at violence in the bigger political context.
Oslo, of course, wasn't just signed by the Israelis, but also the Palestinians. In fact, the Palestinian president, current president Mahmoud Abbas, his signature is on those documents. What do you think young people feel about him as their leader?
Well, I think the most part of the youth don't look at him as the leader, nor a representative. They look at him as part of the occupation, and the Palestinian Authority as part of the occupation and as part of the whole oppressive system. So, okay, he's the he's the head of the Palestinian Authority, but he's not a leader to most Palestinian youth.
So with no obvious leader, with no real connection to the Palestinian Authority, and from what you've been saying, no real hope,
We, of course, are seeing violence, but where do you think this is all going to go?
I think that once you put an end to occupation and an end to the Palestinian Authority, who is also oppressing its own people, I think that's the solution. I don't think that any other solution you might try to find, agreements, I don't know, I don't think that's going to essentially solve what's going on here.
You say you still feel hope. Where's this hope coming from?
Well, I know what you just described is really depressing, but I don't believe that any kind of occupation lasts. And I think that once we say that there's no hope, then we should just stay home and not do anything. But once we believe that we can make a change, then I think we can make a change. But if we say there's no change possible, we cannot change reality, then we cannot change reality. Then we just give up on everything and just sit home, not do anything. So I think that what I see in the future, I see freedom. And as long as I keep freedom up front, I can go somewhere.
Although it may be difficult to believe under the current circumstances, and with all the rhetoric, there are still places where Palestinians and Israelis coexist peacefully. And this is an example, the Monarchia Restaurant in Jerusalem, which is run by Noam Frankfurter, who is Israeli, and Mohammed Nabusi, a Palestinian.
I want to talk a little bit about where we are right now.
Okay.
We're in a restaurant. We're in a business that both of you guys work very hard at trying to make a success. It's very popular. You're known for your delicious soups and your wonderful service. This, of course, is seen by many people as one of these rare examples of coexistence between Palestinians and Israelis. How do you two make this work?
We fight all the day. we agree and we disagree. In fact, the spirit of this place is him. It's not me. I'm the cook, and I try to keep.
Not only the cook, you manage the place also.
Yeah, okay. But the first time I get here, I just arrived. After living in Brussels for 10 years, I just came back, decided to come back to this country to live back in my homeland. And I was looking for a nice place to spend the evening because I made the turn in Jerusalem and there is less few places. So after 10 years in Brussels, you're used to hundreds of thousands of places to go out. So I tried this place and I started like looking around and I felt home. I felt like really being welcomed, and I never felt any kind of racism, neither from the workers nor from the clients. So I said to myself, well, this is a place where I could really go ahead and do things here or try to work, or because in the same time I was looking for work.
Why was it important for you to have a place like this? A place of tolerance, as Mohammed said, a place where people of all backgrounds in a very divided city can come, break bread, and have conversation with each other.
I mean, you just have to let people feel comfortable and feel at home, and it became naturally, you know. I didn't try to do it. It's just, okay.
Yeah, it's exactly as I felt when I came here. I felt home, and as I said, it's his spirit, and as he's not making effort to be like that, you can feel it. It's true and it's real. It's not, we love Arabs here. It's not, no, we love everybody here. I mean, because who says we love the Arab here, I think is also a racist to say so.
Yeah,
sometimes.
like for example, before the gay pride, someone come and ask me, are you gay friendly? We want to put a sticker gay friendly. I said, we're not gay friendly, we're just friendly. I mean, we don't want to have a label gay friendly, Arab friendly, we just want to be friendly.
It's a beautiful sentiment, but it's a sentiment that doesn't seem to be shared by the government and the leaders of Israel. Some have described this government, which has just been elected a few months ago, as the most right-wing government Israel has ever seen in its history, which leads some to say that Israeli society is changing, moving further and further to the right, becoming increasingly conservative and are less in favor of peace. Do you feel that way?
Because I think we created here a small community. So in the community, I don't feel it so much, but around the city, of course, I feel it. I feel that opinion like we share is not legitimate anymore.
You see a solution?
Not in the future, unfortunately. The only solution is between people, not by the government or...
But the government is playing a big role in making
Yes.
people hate each other. I think that the solution is education.
Yes.
Education, like let's start since educating the kids. Like let's take off all the teachers of this country away
But for
because
education,
there's
you need another government, and it won't
well,
happen
the government
soon,
will provide the money, but you have maybe the brilliant idea is to go get some Norwegian and Swedish and I don't know French teachers and to replace all the system here and to try like instead of teaching religion, teaching religions. Like what is the religion, not the Islam or the Judaism, okay? What is the religion? Because we need this here because we are living in 3 different or 4 different religions in this country. So we need to learn the religion, not a religion, not one religion. And then we will learn tolerance. And so we have to invest in our kids. Us and this generation, it's really too late to try fix someone who's 40 or 50 years old with all this hatred that he passed through and the war and the blood and etc.
I want you guys to answer from your hearts. Do you have hope that there will ever come a time in your lives where we will either see a solution or at the very least 2 people living together in peace?
Sometimes I have this hope, and every time a new war starts, I lose this hope, fortunately, but still I have this hope.
Mohammed?
Me too. It's like a barometer, the hope in this country. It's one day when you are happy and going out and seeing your friends and have no worries, of course you are high in hope and you see the bright side of it. And as soon as guys goes down and there is blood and there is fear, hope start like becoming narrow and far away. But since I'm born in this country and it's like this, it become part of your life. It's not shocking that hope is coming and going. It's not really shocking. It's really part of our life. Both sides, I think. Yeah. One day we have hope, optimistic, and one day, as Noam feels, pessimist.